Hey guys, it's Coach Judah back once again. Today I'm going to actually talk about something called nutrition levels. So this basically means when you're starting a nutrition program, you're starting off in the gym, how much change do you effectively need to make progress? As well as what should you be focusing on during that time, depending on what level you're at. Are you brand new to the gym? Are you an advanced athlete? Are you somebody that's a recreational exerciser? This is all of the information as a coach that I take in to make a decision on what we're actually going to do moving forward when it comes to your nutrition. Okay, so most people are going to be level 1. Now with level 1, what we're looking at here is we're looking at people that are trying to get generally healthier and or they have a low experience in the gym, or they're just getting back into the gym. They haven't had a lot of experience with nutrition. So we're working on the basics here. And that comes down to food choices. So what are the types of foods you're eating? Eliminating highly processed foods, eliminating deep fried foods, eliminating sugary sodas, things that can get in the way of your progress. We're looking at what are the quality choices that you're making with foods, not necessarily the overall quantities and or the macronutrients of your foods, because that comes later. We're also focused on behaviors and habits. So, what are the daily habits that you're having? What are the daily behaviors that you're having? And can we start to shift those habits and behaviors to help you be more successful in the long term? We're also going to be starting to exercise, and we're also going to be starting to focus on recovery. So this is a lot to throw at somebody new, meaning that you don't need to make that many changes in the beginning for it to be effective. We want to give you the minimal effective dose, making a few changes along the way, right? When you're starting an exercise program, nutrition is going to be a part of that too, but you're starting to exercise maybe 2 days a week, 3 days a week. You're starting to focus on sleeping better. You're starting to focus on lowering your stress levels. You're starting to focus on eating better quality foods. You're starting on to building better habits, right? So this is a very tough time, and it's probably the hardest level of all of them, because you're building so many skills and you're building so much knowledge on which you're going to base your future decisions. And I would say that 90% of clients are going to fall into that category until they maybe graduate into level 2, which is going to be an experienced recreational athlete. So, somebody that goes to the gym 5 or 6 days a week and is fairly active, or somebody that is like an amateur sports professional or a weekend warrior, somebody that's taking a sport somewhat seriously, but they're not at the elite level. And so what this is going to look like is we're going to see you're eating predominantly whole foods. So we've really cut out the majority of processed foods. Maybe you're eating a little bit here and there. We're going to be at an increased activity level, meaning that you're now working out much more than you were initially. So this is going to be at least 5 days a week, maybe 6 days a week. It doesn't mean they're doing all weighted workouts, but you're doing cardio, you're doing several hours of intense activity every single week. As well as we're now counting macros and micros. Basically, we're looking at your macronutrient intake, including fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. We're also looking at vitamin and mineral intake to make sure that we're actually giving you the best performance possible. On top of that, we're going to be looking at recovery and digging into recovery a little bit more. So you're going to be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We're going to be talking about stress management a little bit more in depth. We're really looking to start to optimize those processes, and we're also going to be a much more effective planner at this point. And that is one of the big keys between the different levels, is the level of planning and action required just goes up and up and up. So for level 1, there is some planning involved, but it doesn't need to be as stringent. For level 2, it's a little bit more strict on the planning, and you're taking action more frequently, right? So that's what it's going to look like for a level 2. You're going to be tracking your macros. You're going to be on the ball with your workouts. You're going to be, fairly knowledgeable when it comes to how your body responds to stress and to how you can recover from those workouts. So that's going to be level 2. Level 3 is somebody that is an elite athlete or they're a professional sports player. So this is somebody that needs everything absolutely dialed in, or maybe they're competing in a bodybuilding show, maybe they're competing in MMA. This is a level 3. So this is sports performance. We're looking to achieve a high level of optimization when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to our exercise, when it comes to our recovery. Everything needs to be absolutely dialed in. So sports performance, dialed in and repeatable, right? You need to have the habits down. So you need to have those habits down. You need to have it ingrained in you that this is just what you do. You probably have other professionals helping you as well along the way. It might not just be one individual. It might be a team of people, but you're optimized recovery, optimized training, and you need to be a master planner, because you need to have everything dialed into the point where you know what you're eating, you know what you're taking for vitamins and minerals and supplements, You know when you're recovering, how well you recover. Your training program is absolutely dialed in specifically to your sport. So that is the top level. Most people will never even touch that level of organization and that level of strictness when it comes to nutrition, unless they're doing something, like I said, like a bodybuilding show, or they're competing in a professional sport where they really need to be at a high level. Most clients that I work with will usually stay in level 1 and then start to creep into level 2. So if you're a level 2, you probably have some experience in the gym, you've tracked macros before, it's not something that's so far out of reach for you. And I will say that tracking macros is a very, very useful skill. It's a great teaching tool because it teaches you what quantities look like. It also teaches you to learn about the food that you're eating, right? Like, so you start to learn like, oh, this is how much protein is in 200 grams of beef, or this is how much fat is in, 30 grams of cheese. Like, you start to learn these things, and over time, this is knowledge that you will take with you into the future, so you can make effective decisions when it comes to your own nutrition moving forward, right? It doesn't mean that you always need to be tracking using macros and micros, but we do need to start to learn more about how we feel when we eat food, as well as how it affects our bodies, and we need to learn how proper portioning looks. For people that are so adverse to not wanting to track using macronutrients, I do use a hand portioning system in which they can use the palm of their hand, their fist, their thumb to actually gauge how much food is on their plate, and slowly we can make tweaks that way. Or by just having them take photos of each of their meals, I can actually give them very effective coaching on how they should progress and change the way their plate looks. That being said, the quickest way to nowhere is to track absolutely nothing. So they're not taking photos, they're not looking at their hand size, they're not tracking using macros and micros. They're just completely winging it. And this can be okay in the beginning if we're just focused on food quality and getting in higher quality proteins, higher quality carbohydrates, and starting to eliminate some of the highly processed foods. That can work, but there will be a point where we need to get a little bit more specific with it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown of nutrition levels. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to answer them. And hopefully you learned something today. Once again, this is Coach Judah from Enzolo Strength, because you can't go wrong when you train to be strong. Peace.